Now, as we move on, we now come to verse 14, 15, 16, and 18 and 19, right? This is where we are now going to try and find out the instructions that Solomon has given us for us to live a better life according to the Bible, right? This is very exciting, guys. Now, in verse 14, the Bible then states that, do not enter the path of the wicked. Guys, Solomon is not saying do not walk with the wicked. I think we missed that one. Solomon is saying do not enter the path of the wicked. He's not saying do not walk with the wicked. Walking with the wicked is another step altogether. But he's saying avoid the way altogether. This is what the Bible is trying to say to us here. But what is the way of the wicked? One might ask the question. Anything that is against the law of God. The Bible is revealing to us that do not find yourself walking in that way. Why? Because it is against the law of God, and it is against what God has said we should do in our lives. Right? This is what we are finding in verse 14. And now if we move on to verse 15, and before we move on to verse 15, just remember, guys, that anything that is in perverse or that is a different view of the law of God, the Bible is saying do not even take that path. Why? Because that path will lead to destruction. Now if you go to verse 15, now the Bible then says that precise mention of how we should turn away from it and how we should avoid it. The Bible then goes further to tell us an instruction of exactly how we should avoid that particular path. If you go to verse 15, as you see it right now, the Bible is telling us this is the reason why you should avoid the way of the wicked, right? This is what we find in the Bible. So as you go on about your life, it is of paramount importance for us to remember that God does not mean illness for us. God is interested in your well-being. God is interested in your prosperity. God is interested in how you will come up in life. Therefore, this is why he gives us all these aids. This is why he allowed Solomon to write all these things so that it can be a benefit to you. Now imagine things that were written over 1,000 years ago are still applicable today in our lives. Guys, God is interested in your well-being. Now let us move on to verse 16. Verse 16 there says that, for they do not sleep unless they have done evil, and their sleep is taken away unless they make someone fall. Now the reason to avoid is because you might just become the target of their evil actions. The Bible goes further to reveal to us that these people, they will not sleep unless they have done evil, and their sleep is taken away unless they have caused someone to fall. Now the Bible then says avoid this path. Why should you avoid the path of going against the law of God? Because you meet people who do evil, people who will not sleep unless they've made someone fall. Now the Bible is saying if you avoid all of that, you will save yourself. Why will you save yourself? Because you will not meet these evil men along the path and along the way, right? So this is what the Bible is revealing to us over here, guys. And simply what God wants us to know. The reason why you should avoid it. Avoid the path that is against the law of God, because you meet people who don't even fear God, people who will not sleep unless they've made someone fall, and you might just become the target. So the Bible is saying avoid that path. Follow the path of God. Follow the wisdom of God. Follow the nature of God. For remember, you were created in the image of God, right? Now if we move on to verse 18, right, verse 18 then says, follow the path of the just by following the laws of God, and your path in life will be clear and you'll see exactly where you are going. But failure to do so will lead to your demise, right? This is what the Bible is revealing to us in verse 18, that follow the path of the just. Follow the path of the just. Understand the laws of God. Understand how they apply to your life, right? This is what the Bible wants us to know. This is what God wants us to know in our life. That in everything that we do, let us not just do things haphazardly, but let us remember that God has a certain plan for us in our lives. God is not interested in you perishing. God understands that for you to accomplish your purpose in life, you need to be in alignment with Him. But if you deviate from His alignment, and if you deviate from His purpose, God cannot protect you from those things, because you've now decided for yourself that you want to be somewhere else that is not where God wants you to be. So God is saying, I will provide things that I have set myself. God is saying that I will provide for those things. Therefore, walk in the path of the just, because that is exactly where I want you to be. But failure to do so, you might just find yourself in the path of the wicked man. Now, if you go on to verse 19 as our last verse for this session, we then say that it will be as if you are walking in the dark or in a dark room all the days of your life. Now, the Bible goes further to tell us that they stumble and they do not even know what they are stumbling at. This is what the Bible reveals to us, is that they will trip and they don't even know what is tripping them, walking against the law of God. Have you ever tried to walk in a dark room and you trip on something? You don't even know what it is that you have tripped on. And this is what the Bible is revealing to us, that if we decide to go against the laws of God, we are going to trip on things we don't even know we are tripping on, right? And the danger part about walking in the dark is that you can step on a razor, you can step on a sharp object, because you've decided to walk against the laws of God. And in life, you might meet people who do you harm. You might meet people who betray you. You might meet people who steal things from you. You might meet people who lie to you. You might meet people who come and take precious things from you, simply because we decided to walk against the law of God. So God is saying, to avoid all of that, let us be in alignment with Him. If you are not in alignment with God, pray to Him. Ask God, God, I want to walk in alignment with you. Therefore, reveal to me the things that I should do and that I should apply in my life. And God will certainly direct you. Now, this is the end of our session 2. Now, let us move on to session number 3, where we then say that if you listen to these Bible verses, you are guaranteed to live longer.